YouTube has a serious problem. Actually, it has a whole lot more than one serious problem. It has a whole slew of serious problems that need to be addressed. But today we're going to be talking about one specific problem. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Void. I'm an aspiring YouTuber and content creator. For those of you who do know me, you probably already know what this video is about. In fact, you may have heard me talk about this issue live on stream a couple of times in recent weeks, because it is an issue that has been plaguing me all year. And I think it's also very important to note that this issue only began as of 2025, because for the first, year and a half I did YouTube, first year and a half I was doing YouTube, all the way up to the end of 2024. Never once did I experience this issue. But as soon as it turned to 2025, I experienced this issue in the first week of the year. The first week. Now, I haven't seen too many people talk about this issue. Actually, I haven't seen anybody bring up this issue, but it's very possible that people have been talking about it and it just hasn't reached my feed. But regardless, I'm going to treat this as though I am one of the first, if not the only person speaking up about this issue. But I think that's enough beating around the bush and context. I think it's time to actually talk about the issue. Now, I'm sure you are all aware of YouTube's, extremely flawed and at times very questionable automated copyright systems. Now, with how much video is uploaded to YouTube, with how much just content, just hours and hours of content is uploaded every day to YouTube, having automated systems to do some of the job for you is totally understandable and completely valid. But of course, automated systems can only do what they are exactly programmed to do, and sometimes they aren't programmed exactly right. There have been so many instances of false claims and false copyright issues with the automated systems and false takedowns for content that clearly wasn't in any violation of the community guidelines, that it's become such a notorious thing over the years. But as of 2025, I have been experiencing an extremely problematic issue with YouTube's copyright claims. And the issue being that I have been receiving copyright claims, not strikes, claims, copyright claims for remixes of songs when I was using the original works. Let me reiterate and try and dumb it down to make sure you understand. I use an original song, not a remix, an original works that is completely and utterly fair use, and I get a claim for a remix of that song. And let us start with the first offender, the first song that this happened to me to, the first claim I got for a remix of this song, that being Accumulatown, the Furret Walk song. For almost the entirety of my YouTube career, I have used the Furret Walk, Accumulatown, one of the remixes, the Furret Walk, not the original Accumulatown. I actually was using a remix of Accumulatown for my Be Right Back screen on live streams. And I kept getting claim after claim, and I was like, all right, fine. I will use the original Accumulatown to see if this will stop, because it is a remix. Maybe this is actually the person making the remix. I was like, okay, sure, you know what? YouTube, I will trust your systems, and I will trust your judgment. And then I started using the original Accumulatown for my Be Right Back screens. And, yeah, you can guess where this one's going. So right here, I have YouTube Studio opened, as you can see. This is one of our Stardew Valley streams that we did a little while back. And as you can see, I have gotten a claim for Accumulatown by Cunning Fox. Last I checked, someone named Cunning Fox doesn't own Accumulatown. The Pokemon Company does. And here, I'm going to play a short sample of the song from the actual live stream so you can listen to it. The original Accumulatown. Here you go. Let it play for 4 seconds. There you go, that's the opening of the song, the original Accumulatown. It turns out that this Cunning Fox person made a remix of Accumulatown. Okay, we're getting somewhere, that makes sense. It's not just from some random person in, like, I don't know, from the other side of the world just making a false claim to try and get some money off of me. It wasn't, it was from an actual remixer. Now let's play a small sample of this remix. As you can hear, they are different songs. The one used in my live stream was not, in fact, the one used in this remix. But because of how YouTube's automated systems are and how finicky and imprecise they can be, it thinks I'm using this person's remix of the song when I am, in fact, using the original works. Now, sure, Accumulatown still belongs to the Pokemon Company. It is not my works. I'm not claiming it is my works, but I am claiming that it is fair use. And like I said before, I had been using Accumulatown and a remix of it at that matter for almost 2 years with 0 issue. This issue only started this year. But I digress. Let us continue with the trend because it doesn't stop here. Over here we have another copyright claim on a more recent stream from when Luke and I were playing Halo 3's campaign on Legendary difficulty. And once again, a copyright claim for Accumulatown, this time coming from someone called Family Jules. And as you can see right here, someone named Family Jules has made a metal remix. A metal remix of Accumulatown. I'll play a little sample for you just so you can listen. Very clearly not the original Accumulatown. So you might think, okay, so YouTube's claim system is being a little bit finicky and making some stupid claims for remixes. Why is this a big deal? Well, the reason it's a big deal is because 1, it is happening so unbelievably frequently. And 2, I know for a fact that the more claims on your channel that don't get disputed or don't get appealed or whatever, any claim that is permanently on your channel, I know that YouTube kind of like, how do I phrase this? YouTube kind of like shadow tags your channel and kind of like tags it as like, oh, this person has, you know, the system is like, oh, this person has some claims on this channel, so we have to bring them under extra scrutiny, pretty much. Now, it's not like I have like 100 different copyright claims on my channel, but it still comes down to the fact that there are so many of them and they happen so often. I was just dealing with one of them the other day, that if they keep building up and they keep just happening like this to any creator, like take for example, like here's a good way of putting it. Smaller creators like myself tend to be, well, not like myself, but smaller creators, let's say, smaller creators. Smaller creators just starting out tend to, I don't want to say tend to, but I think it's fair to assume that smaller creators who aren't as knowledgeable about the YouTube algorithm as I am would probably be scared by things like a claim, and they'd probably be like, well, they'd be scared about it. A claim isn't a strike, and it, you know, YouTube explains that it's not a strike, but it does explain that, you know, you don't want a lot of claims on your channel because it'll pretty much, like I said, it'll pretty much shadow tag you to have a little bit of extra scrutiny. And even when it is explicitly fair use and not a remix, for 1, and for 2, like I said, when it is fair use, it can sometimes scare creators into using the content they want to use under fair use, or make them think, oh, well, I guess I'll just delete that portion of the video and give up. Like, no, don't give up, dispute. When you know it is wrong, dispute. Or even if you have an inkling of that it might not be quite right, dispute it. And another very important thing to note about how this affects smaller creators is that smaller creators tend to use things like video game soundtracks for music in those videos, especially me. I use a shitload of video game soundtracks in my videos. Take, for example, one of my personal favorite OSTs, the Deltarune soundtrack. I have used the Deltarune soundtrack a lot of times in my videos. Anything from Field of Hope and Dreams to Hip Hop Shop to Spampton's theme. I've used it all over the place. So of course, when Deltarune Chapter 3 came out, I was really excited. And my buddy Luke, he was also really excited. He's one of the biggest Deltarune nerds that I know. So what did we do? We live streamed it. And I like to make cool custom like starting soon screens whenever we're doing something that's like really different or something I'm really excited about. So I made a custom stream starting soon screen for Deltarune. You know, it was Deltarune themed. It had like some of the characters and whatnot. And I decided to use Hip Shop, you know, the Color Cafe's theme, as the intro music. I'd used the song itself many a times in the past, including this year. I'd used that song many a times with 0 problems. But as soon as I live streamed it, the minute I live streamed it, boom, claim for a remix. I don't know who the hell this Han Feezy guy is. I found his remix of the song and he's not the original composer of the song. I will actually go ahead and show you over here on SoundCloud. Here's this Han Feezy person. Let's see, so this is the song. Where can yeah, here we go, 1,282 plays. This is just a sped up and like slightly pitch shifted version of Hip Shop. Here, take a listen. As you can clearly hear, it is not the original song. It is a remix. But on my live stream, I was using the original works, not this person's remix. At this point in the video, you might be asking to yourself, okay, Is it YouTube's automated systems, or is it the actual creators of these remixes who are claiming you directly? Oh boy, am I glad you asked. It is not, in fact, well, at least I assume it is not, in fact, the creators who are directly claiming me. And I know this because I reached out to some of them. Some of them, actually most of them didn't respond. Only one person responded, but he was, in fact, the largest in terms of notoriety, the largest of the creators I had reached out to. That being Richard EB, who is a extremely talented individual who has made some amazing metal remixes of songs. Most importantly and relevant for this video, a metal remix of Roar of the Jungle Dragon, one of my favorite songs. Now, the claim has since been disputed. I don't know if he had something to do with that. If he did, thank you very much. If it wasn't, you know, if he didn't reach out to YouTube and say something and it was just the automated system fixing itself, then that's also good. So where and when, Void, did you get copyrighted for using this person's remix of Roar of the Jungle Dragon? Well, that is a good question. It was, in fact, on our final stream of the Calamity mod for Terraria on the Get Fixed Boy seed when we were fighting Yaren. And of course, Yaren's theme song is going to play in-game. But I had no mods that remixed his music. It was the original works by DM Dakaru, legend. It was the original song played in the context it was made for, accompanied by 2 commentators. Ergo, fair use. But YouTube's systems thought that it was the remix from Richard. At this point, I was so unbelievably fed up of these remix claims. I was genuinely getting so heated. I sound like I'm getting heated now, actually. Am I getting heated? I can't tell. I don't know, but at the time, I was just really fed up. I was like, this is getting completely out of hand. Okay, I was gonna look for the comment that I left on the remix reaching out to him, but it might have been deleted since we swapped to emails to talk, which is totally fine. So I'll show you the emails, but I'll obviously censor all the information that I don't want you seeing. Here we go, right here. Here, I'll read you the email that he replied back to me. Hey, so YouTube copyright ID incorrectly thinks I'm the composer of this track, but that's just an error on their end. I don't have anything to do with this claim. Materia Music Publishing does tend to represent music rights of indie devs, but I'm not sure if they represent DM Dakaru. I would try emailing Materia for more answers there. Sorry I couldn't be of more help. You were plenty of help, Richard. You were plenty of help. Not only were you kind enough to reach out to a smaller creator and take some time out of your day to do just a little bit of digging and give me some advice, but you also proved that it is in fact YouTube's automated system filing these claims. Or, you know, potentially the publisher who representing indie devs. That's also possible. But I highly doubt, and I say again, I highly doubt that this I'm not gonna call it a slop remix, just a very minor remix. What's the word for remixing a song but barely changing it? What's the word for that? I don't know, I'm just gonna keep saying remix. I highly doubt that this Hanfeezy person is big enough to be owned by a publisher. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that this claim for Accumulatown, or sorry, not Accumulatown, Hip Shop, I highly doubt that's coming from a publisher and is probably just coming from YouTube's automated systems. Also, I should note that this SoundCloud remix of Hip Shop is nowhere to be found on YouTube. I legitimately searched for like 20 minutes. I could not find it. It is only on SoundCloud. So not only am I getting copyright claims for remixes on YouTube when I'm using the original works, but I'm also getting claimed for remixes on SoundCloud on YouTube for a remix when I'm using the original works. It is such a mindfuck and such a headache. The last 2 claims I've gotten are specifically for this remix of Hip Shop, and they are extremely recent, because those Deltarune streams were extremely recent, like last week. And some of these older ones I'm starting to become a little bit concerned about, because this dispute only has 7 days left, and there's been nothing. There has been absolutely zero response or updates or anything about it. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, great, I'm gonna have another fucking claim on my channel. Look, I get that YouTube is a vast and complex web of an ecosystem. I understand that, and I understand micromanaging every little thread of web that intersects with each other and every single one. I get that micromanaging every single one is just impossible. But when these automated systems intended to micromanage that web are making false claims on behalf of remixers against people who are using the original works, not the remix, the original works, It is just completely unacceptable. If these claims keep getting dished out, creators, including myself, are going to become skeptical and scared to use their favorite video game soundtracks or even other just soundtracks and musics from places. They're going to be scared out of using them because they're gonna think, oh, I'm gonna get a false claim for a remix that's never going to be disputed. And then you're going to have a claim on your channel, and that is going to, well, most likely, I'm not 100% confident if this is true, but I'm like 90% confident that your channel will become more and more shadow tagged by YouTube's automated systems to put your channel under more scrutiny when it comes to the analysis process and copyright checks when uploading a video. Now, sure, you can obviously make the argument this is far from the single biggest problem YouTube has to worry about or fix. It is far, and I'm with you. It is far from the single biggest problem they have to fix. Whatever their single biggest problem is, like, I don't even really think you could say what it is because so many of the problems that people have with YouTube are so unbelievably major. I don't think this is as bad as YouTube only giving Sniper Wolf a slap on the wrist and not demonetizing her second channel when she literally docks Jack's films. I don't think it's nearly as bad as that, but it is very important because this is the automated system intended to both protect creators and ensure that fair use is doable. And this right here, this bug, is a complete contradiction of that. So, YouTube, please, I ask you, do your best to fix this problem as soon as possible. False claims on small channels or big channels, just channels in general, false claims piling up like this on any channel is not acceptable, especially when the claims are as ridiculous as using a song and then getting a claim filed against you for using a remix of the song. It is completely and utterly ridiculous. And YouTube, I know that you have some extremely talented and extremely intelligent people in your ranks whose job it is to fix these sort of things. So I ask you, as someone who loves you and wants you to stay this great and important website that has affected so many lives and made such a massive difference in the ecosphere of the World Wide Web, please get someone to rectify this. That was a pretty exhausting rant, if I do say so myself. I normally don't like making videos like this about like issues in the world or issues on the internet or just issues and negative things in general because I like my channel to be this like positive place where you can just come, have some laughs, have a good time, talk with some people who are like-minded, and just enjoy yourself. You know, I don't want this to be a place of negativity. But when the place that I'm building this place in is affecting me negatively, I feel the need to speak up about it. So I ask that all of you down in the comments and anybody watching this video, tell me if you know any other creators who have spoken up about this issue. If you're a fellow creator and you have experienced this issue, please tell me in the comments. And I don't know, maybe I'll do some sort of follow-up at the end of the year or next year or whenever I hear something relevant enough to make a video on relating to this issue. I'd also greatly appreciate it if you'd all consider hitting the like and sub button. We're very close to 15,000 subs. I'd love to hit that pretty soon. That'd be very nice. And it'd be even nicer if you would consider becoming a channel member. Not only do you directly support me and help me keep this channel running, but you also get access to a whole bunch of exclusive rewards in return. Not only do you get things like early access to my videos, but once we hit 10 consecutive channel members, I will start doing weekly members-only live streams where the members get to decide what I suffer through. That is going to do it for now. Thank you all so much for listening to this short rant about YouTube's issues, and I'll see you all very soon.